Hi, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Shop Talk Park Slope. I am really stoked to have one of my favorite business owners. Okay, I know I'm not supposed to play favorites, but she's a favorite. And that would be Sara Nguyen, owner of Wangs BK, located right here on Park Slope on Union Street between 4th and 5th. Hi, Sara.
Hi. So happy to talk to you finally.
I know. It's like I'm always stopping by and doing a little chit chat, but it's nice to kind of
a quick chit chat.
Yeah. And also, to have an opportunity to actually learn more about you, even though I've known you for quite some time. Because let me tell you, folks, once I realized that she was going to be opening up, I basically I don't want to say I completely stalked the shop, like little. So
one of my favorite customers. I know I'm not supposed to play favorites either, but I still have some favorite customers.
Okay, so speaking of Wangs, yes, the name is a bit self-explanatory, but can you tell people what is Wangs? What's it about? What do you have to offer?
Yeah. So Wangs we do Southern American soul food meets East Asian flavors. It's a little confusing to people. I find myself explaining it quite a bit, but the general theme is the American Southern soul food. And it's a bunch of different Asian influences on it. We have Korean, we have Vietnamese, we have Japanese, Chinese influence, and Thai influences on it. But it's all spins on classic Southern American soul food. Fried chicken. We're known for our Korean style wings, hence the name Wangs. The way the South pronounces wings, and it sounds like an Asian last name, which is kind of a play on words. But my last name is not Wang. And it's, we have a lot of fun there. We opened in like the beginning of 2014. So we have been around for almost a decade, if you can believe that. It's been a journey, but that's pretty much what it is. And it's a takeout window. We have some seating outside during the spring and summer months when the weather permits eating outside, but mostly takeout and delivery.
Okay, so
it's like a tiny little house.
Yes, it is. It is like the cutest little
shop. Like a little clubhouse.
Actually, we're going to get to that in a little bit about the style of the restaurant itself. But I want to know, why did you decide to focus on chicken wings and other like chicken things in general? And what do you think makes Wangs different from, because there's a lot of chicken out there. Okay.
There is a lot of chicken.
Yeah. What do you think?
There is a lot of chicken. I think I've been in fine dining most of my career, mainly I worked at Per Se, I worked at the Metropolitan, I worked at Ray Kuntz, I worked at these I worked at Cafe des Artistes, I worked at these high-end places. And when I decided to do my own thing, I was I just kind of wanted to take all of that fine dining experience and kind of put it into a more accessible sort of venue. And I've always just had a very soft spot for American soul food. I think it's the true American cuisine. I think that we're going to see a lot of fusions popping up with American soul food. I think it translates to a lot of different cultures, and there's a lot of similarities in other cuisines. I think it's a pretty natural thing. But I just wanted something that was accessible. I wanted to have, very slow food in a fast food environment. So everything is made in-house. We even ferment our own kimchi. We make our own pickles. We make all of our sauces. Yeah, we even make our own ketchup. So so it's everything. I think that's what kind of differentiates this fast food place, where everything is just made in this tiny little place. We're not buying it from anywhere else. Even the chickens that come in, for our fried chicken, it's not a lot of places that have like have fried chicken. They usually have like fried chicken pieces, but we're actually like, we're getting whole beautiful chickens in. We're like butchering it ourselves, things like that. So yeah.
Yeah. And again, I've been a long time customer, and I actually didn't know that was your process. So it's like, so you move fast, but there sounds like there's a lot of work that goes into that in order to make it quick for your customers. So
very much, it's very prep intensive. I was actually explaining this to someone else, like our wings, actually, they take about 3 days to make. So there's like a salting process. There's a marinating process. There's this dredging process that it has to sit in like the flour, so the proteins can like kind of like marry, basically, because you can't, it's odd if you for instance, if you just took the wings and you put them in flour and then you put them right away into the deep fryer, that skin isn't going to be as crispy as it is if the wings sit in the flour for a period of time and then you fry it and then you fry it again. So like when people are ordering a window, the wings take, about 4 minutes to make, but in actuality, it actually took 3 days for us to prepare.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But, kind of think about that's why they're so good.
They are very crispy.
Oh, yes, they are.
That super candy, thin, crispy shell of it. Yeah.
So good.
That
so good.
3-day process.
Gosh, I had no idea. All right. So other than the actual wings themselves, I'm curious, what do you think is the secret weapon item on your menu?
Oh my gosh. I think it's all the sides. Honestly, like I love our sides. The chicken is great, obviously, but like for people who are vegetarians or that they don't eat chicken or anything, the sides options, are fantastic. And we have people who are vegetarians that are like, they just grab 6 sides for their dinner or for their meal, I think that like the sleeper hit are the coconut milk grits on the menu. I've had, those are so delicious. And like, when we first put them on, they weren't being like, they weren't our biggest seller. And then now you see like people are just like, I'm going to take 4 grits, or I just want, we'll have like specific customer. I'm like, oh, the grits man is here. He wants 3 grits. Most of our customers like, salad guy's here. I'm like, sandwich guy was ordering. Yeah.
So we had already touched on this a little bit earlier, but unlike a lot of other restaurants that are out there, your restaurant and that's also kind of what made that. It's small, which actually makes what you just told me about your prep process and all this stuff that you do just blow my mind, like even more. But you have it's a small, just takeout only spot, consisting of like a really narrow, just what was that? Yeah. So choosing that kind of space for your restaurant, like, was that very intentional or was it more circumstantial? Kind of how did you decide on like that spot as opposed to say a bigger spot where maybe you had like more tables kind of like inside or something like that?
Yeah. I think originally I really wanted just a takeout window. When I first opened, I had this idea that it would be, it's going to be easy for me just to like set up and walk away. And like, it is not the case. But originally that was kind of my intention. I had been doing full service and fine dining and alcohol and all of that for so long. I was just kind of tired of the full service, the fine dining, the alcohol, alcohol it's such a necessity in restaurants, but I tell you, it is a pain in the butt for restaurant owners, because you're constantly like it's something that you have to check on all the time. You have to make sure it's the first thing that gets stolen. It's the first thing that other people will take advantage of, in there. Okay. I just didn't really want to deal with that, to be honest. And I thought that it would be an easier thing to be able to walk away from or step away from, or not have to be there all the time, and kind of check up on. But it's not the case. It's still just as hard work. It's just as difficult to run around any restaurant, a takeout window, as it is for a full service. But yeah, that was the original intention. And I think that, the future, definitely we have an indoor area. I definitely, the food will pair great with wonderful beers and wines and stuff. So yeah, that's definitely like what I'm hoping to do in the future, and keeping the little takeout spot and expanding on the menu in a bigger spot. Yeah.
So expansion plans I'm hearing.
Aww. Yeah, that's the hope of it. There's always as the last 5 years or the last 4 years, you can even see we had the pandemic, we had, all these inflation and a potential recession. So it's a little difficult to kind of navigate situations that are out of your control, and but trying not to be afraid of those situations that are out of our control, and still trying to keep our, eye on that expansion goals and eye on the goals and prize and stuff and all of that. So it is difficult. Wait, hold on. I think can you hear me?
These last few years have been such a challenge for so many businesses to navigate. And unfortunately, there's a number of places that haven't made it, but
close. Yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, thank goodness your business is.
I am so grateful that we were made for that pandemic. The takeout window, the no seating inside ever was it was. Honestly, we were very fortunate that we had already had these systems in place during it. So a lot of my colleagues and other restaurant owner friends weren't so lucky. And it's very difficult to go from a full service to all of a sudden, you can't just switch overnight to being all takeout. They're two completely different animals. But
do you think kind of going through having gone through the pandemic, you think is going to, when you do make that next step to maybe having kind of a little bit more of a full service restaurant, do you think that that's going to really be informative in terms of how you set things up and everything else?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that having a to-go takeout option is imperative in all the situations, especially when, even since the pandemic and not even COVID anymore, people are more concerned about going out when they're sick, or when they have a cold, when they have the flu, when they're feeling under the weather. So I think that always having a takeout option is just important for any business, and just kind of knowing that, so you can quickly switch back and forth, as we see that, we need to be able to be a little bit more fluid in our service styles. Yeah.
So kind of a little bit kind of connected to talking about your decision behind choosing your shop. Why did you choose Park Slope? Was it more because you already had your eye on the neighborhood and you were looking for the right spot, or the right spot happened to appear for you in the neighborhood?
Already had an eye on the neighborhood, and this spot came out and it just looked so perfect. It was just this tiny little standalone building that really doesn't exist anywhere in New York. It's this tiny little place that was that's just snuggled up between two brownstones. And it just looked so perfect. And then the price was right. The landlord is great. He's an old restaurant guy from back in the day, and he's a great landlord. And it just all seemed to flow together. It just seemed like the perfect spot. And that whole area was kind of up and coming in 2014. A lot of more people were moving to Gowanus. to that area, like right next door or to Park Slope, and just having that being in between of those two neighborhoods is like a great destination. I think a great place to be.
Yeah, and I would imagine too, because it's not that far from Barclay Center. So do you feel, and so imagine you probably get some traffic from there, especially when they have.
That's definitely. Probably, and just being in Park Slope is such a great neighborhood. You know, I mean, you have everything's walking distance. You have the park, the museum there. You have great bars and restaurants around to choose from. And in the summertime, we get a lot of like, I think this summer I'm going to start like picnic baskets and stuff, because people have been like taking food and they're like, oh, we're just taking it to the park, and we're walking over to the park, which is such a wonderful, perfect thing to like grab a picnic basket and head to the park, you know? But I just love it. When I first moved to New York in 2004, I moved to Park Slope, was the first neighborhood I lived in. So it kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird that like I ended up opening, my place in Park Slope like 15 years later.
You had an attachment there. There was an attachment there that kind of existed where you were just kind of like, I think I want to be there, come back there. Yes.
And it's like so close to Fifth Avenue has all these shops and all these stores and all these like, more so than any other neighborhood. I feel like Park Slope has a lot more independent places, and small owned, and obviously in so much of New York, you go into neighborhoods and you're like, oh, I didn't even know this existed. Or you can live in a neighborhood for, however long and still walk by something that you haven't seen before, and I think Park Slope has a lot of those like little, like small places, like side streets off of, the main streets that I really like. I still have yet. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that there was that place there. And like, oh, what kind of food is it? Sometimes like when I'm roaming around the neighborhood, if I have like an afternoon just to walk around it, it's like discovery.
You already covered one of the questions I was going to ask you, which was like, what did you love about Park Slope? And I'm like, okay, thank you. That's exactly why. I personally think Park Slope is great. Although speaking of the greatness of Park Slope and all of its business, especially because you have, as a chef, what are some of your favorite restaurants and bars kind of here in the neighborhood that you want to get a little shout out?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I love Five Spice. I love that. Love Five Spice. They have such delicious pho and banh mi's there. I love that Hayo. I think it's a Korean spot on Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, right there on Fifth. Carol. Yeah.
Yes, there's that the wonderful wine store right on Fifth Avenue in Union. It's on Fifth. It's like a wine.
Yeah. So that's Red, White, and Bubbly. Red, White, and Bubbly.
Okay,
is that wine shop.
That wine shop is amazing, and then there's like a wine bar right across from it that has a late night bar menu right from it. It's right on Fifth and Union, but they have the best chicken pot pie there.
Wait, chicken pot? There was chicken pot pie nearby, and I didn't know until now.
Yeah. They have like, it's a wine bar, and it's like, and there's a kitchen that serves until 2 a.m. And so it's kind of an amazing place to, like, after I leave Wangs, it's 10:30, 11, and it's really difficult to find like a good meal that, isn't like that you can sit down for, because most kitchens are closed, but this place is open until 2 a.m. The kitchen is open until 2 a.m. and they have, it's not a chicken pot pie, it's a rabbit pot pie, and it's delicious. Yeah, it's delicious. And I'll remember the name of it because it's like a 3-minute walk from Wangs. It's just like you walk towards Fifth Avenue, you make a left, and it's right there. I can't remember the name of it.
Either Black Oak or Blueprint. is what it sounds
Blueprint.
like.
It's Blueprint. Yeah. They have a great late night menu, and it's just like delicious bar food that's really solid. And of course, an amazing selection of wine and everything. So I kind of love going there at like 11, after Wangs closes, and sitting down and having a glass of wine and ordering that rabbit pot pie. In the middle, that's like
that sounds like a nice nightcap. That sounds like a wonderful nightcap. But that's the thing. When you work in the restaurant industry, your schedule is so different from most other people. It really, really is. But
trying to find places that like are like that is that will cater to, getting off of work at 11 p.m. is really great. So I find those places and I like hold on to them. And Blueprint's been there for years and years and years, right?
They have been there for quite some time. We are actually big fans of Blueprint ourselves, and hopefully we'll be talking to them one of these.
Yes. And then you'll have to go and get the rabbit pot pie. Oh my gosh.
Okay, now it's so good. Well, Sarah, this has been great. Of course, because I've known you all the time, I could just continue to go on and on, but we can probably only have people's attention. Yeah,
sure. They're like, we're out.
So again, that is Sara is the owner of Wangs BK, located on Union Street between 4th and 5th Avenue. You can take the R train to Union Street, and it is literally right there. Just try all the things on the menu, because
all the sides. There will be new sides coming out. There will be new sides. I was reading all the comments for the first time ever, and the general thread was, "Can you put some more new sides on?" I was like, "We have like 15 sides. You want more sides? Okay, I'm gonna work on it. 2 more sides. I'm gonna work on it, guys." Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah. Cause that's
fine. You'll be the first to know, Nikki.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you folks for
lovely talking to you.
Thank you for joining us, Sara. It was really great to catch up with you, and also to learn
my pleasure.
So much more about you and basically your path towards opening Wangs. It's really been eye-opening for me. But again, thanks so much for joining us. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you. So,
all right. Talk to you soon. Bye.